because of you.
Hey there, this is Home Wizards. Improve your home, improve your life. Cindy Dole with Eric Stromer.
Hi, everybody. How are you? Good to see you and hear you.
And what is this right here?
You know what this is. This right here is my barbecue grate, and it is filthy. It's riddled with carbon black. It looks like it's got a half-life of about 1 million years.
And you feed your family that way.
Boy, you said it. And I use a grill probably 3-4 times a week with the kids. So.
Well, the kids aren't you having a big party tomorrow?
Big party. This is an exciting time. We got the 13-year-old, the 7-year-old, the 5-year-old, and a bunch of kids and friends and parents, and it's barbecue time. It's barbecue season. This is the culmination in the world when barbecues kind of fire up universally around the world.
Well, it's our last official brouhaha. It's our last big summer blast.
That's exactly right.
I mean, I think the grills were fired up last week just in anticipation.
I agree, just to warm them up and get them going. But what people don't realize is that you actually have to cook meat or vegetables on these things, and they're really filthy at some point. You got to figure out how to clean them, don't you? Look at this thing.
I mean, but who...
see that?
That is
Hold on. Don't do it too much because I'm starting to smell meat. This is making me hungry.
Yeah, it's not one of your favorite to-dos, but it's one of those things that if you don't clean your grill, I guess not only are you not going to have a great grilling experience, but the life of your grill is not going to be that great.
No, it really isn't. And
pardon the pun. Great.
Yeah, and you know how you put the piece of meat on there and then you try and flip it and it sticks. It's like almost like rubber cement, and that's because the grill isn't clean. And there's a couple of great techniques that we can talk about to figure out how to get it in operating order for this great holiday we call Labor Day.
I think people need to get pumped up, too, that we can make the cleaning of the grill simple, because I think it's one of those manana things. I mean, hey, how many times have you just closed the lid on the grill like you have dishes in the dishwasher, and it's like they're dirty and you forget about it, and then you don't worry about cleaning it again?
Wait, that's not what you're supposed to do?
You have like a week's worth of dishes sitting in it?
Couple, yeah. It's a great way to kind of cover a myriad of sins. The barbecue's over, you shut the door on it, and then you open it up again. And most people, I think, get to a point where they open it up and expect that you just turn it on and you're going to have a great cooking experience. But you're really not, unless you hear this sound, which is the sound of the wire brush. That's right.
It's not the sound of Santa coming. No, it's the sound of grilling to come.
That's right. Exactly. So, yeah, I got to tell you, I am so excited for this experience. But we're going to really get into some great tips on how to get this thing clean and ready to go on this great day.
Well, you have the brush. That seems to be the wire brush is one of the things you have to have, I guess, right?
Yeah, you can use a wire brush. You can use a natural bristle. You can also use anything like a nylon bristle as long as the grill grate is cool. But the best for the buck is definitely the wire bristle brush, yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I also love to take these tines off, these grill grates, and you get them into a situation where you can put them in a nice cleaning tub, a shallow tub, if you will, fill it with water, throw a little degreaser in there, and I've got some secret recipes for that, and we'll talk about that as well. But and it's just that simple. And then a little bit of agitation, and before you know it, you got yourself a lovely, brand new grill grate that you can cook perfect meals every time.
Well, I'm going to show you another little secret.
Okay.
Here's my weapon. Are you ready for this?
No, don't do it.
Yeah.
Oh. What do you got? Tin foil.
It's foil.
It is.
So basically, instead of, or, you can still go the wire brush route, but I discovered this technique, and you basically use the foil as your tool.
Boy, that's a great idea. You know what I'm seeing happening? It's forming to the shape of the grill grate and taking off all that carbon.
Right. And then you do this while the grill is, you pre-warm the grill.
Right.
And then you do this.
Boy,
right?
that's a great idea. I've never thought of that.
And then all the junk falls to the bottom.
Right.
And I love that you can do this while it's warm, and then it all comes off. But you can also do another technique. Are you ready for this? I
am.
You get even more foil.
Yeah.
So basically, you get a nice jumbo piece of foil.
Yeah.
And you put the shiny side up.
Yeah.
And you put the grate on top of the foil. Okay. And you're going to wrap it up like it's a nice little blanket.
Well, it's like a baby in foil, isn't it?
It's a baby in foil.
Yeah. I can't imagine
it's Christmas time. Anyway, but you can cheat and get as much foil as you need. But the bottom line is, you do this while again it's warm, and you've wrapped it up. Okay.
Right.
And then you're going to just let it sit there, and then in the fumes overnight, it's going to just kind of melt off all of that gunk. Isn't that a great idea?
Fantastic idea, yeah. Now, a little more of an idea that we've kind of shared before when we talk about this stuff is you take that grill grate off. You put it in a nice shallow tub. You fill it with lukewarm water, and then you throw in what I like is just a great soapy water, yeah. A little bit of warm water, that wire brush, you let it soak for a couple of minutes, and then you just gently agitate it, and within a couple of minutes, all that old stuff comes off, and you are in a great position to do what? This is what we talked about. This is the key, to re-oil those grill grates, right? And what do you love? What's your secret?
Well, before I get to the oil, I want to tell you one more thing about the foil. Sounds like oil. Foil. There's one more thing without even having to brush it all.
Yeah.
You use some ammonia. If you get some ammonia and you put that all, you use a paper towel and you put that all over these grates, and again, you wrap it all up. And then that trash bag that you have, you put these in the trash bag in the garage overnight, and then now all of that, the ammonia breaks it down. And then the following day, after 24 hours of it sitting in that, you put it on the warm grill again. You hose it off first. Yeah. Then you put it on the warm grill, and then you heat it off because you don't want to cook food on that residue, right? Now it's heated off, and then you're going to oil it for your next meal. But isn't that cool?
You are essentially marinating.
We're bathing ourselves in foil.
But can I just say, you do have black all over your hands.
I do. Oh my!
Which is don't touch your face. You'll look
I kind of do.
A football player. That's great. So
isn't that fun?
Yeah, that's a great idea, and I would imagine that takes a little bit less elbow grease because it already soaks.
It's like none. How about the total no elbow grease, the grass method? I found this one online. You just take your entire grate. It has to be at nighttime,
right?
And so you're going to do this like the night before you're going to grill. So if you're going to have a big party tomorrow, like you are, or Monday, tonight when it's like sunset and cool, take the grate off and just throw it on the grass. And then leave it overnight. It has to be, shady or dusk, because if it's hot, you'll have a nice grate print on your grass.
Right.
But then the dew in the morning kind of just dissolves the stuff.
Interesting. So it's all the moisture from the grass that kind of comes up.
So there's more like lazy ways to do it without having to be,
You mean my old
without that
caveman method of a wire brush and
Although
a
that
solution.
is classic.
No, it really is. And basically after you've rubbed it with the wire brush, you get to a point where you just let these things dry, and then you do have to figure out what to do to keep that a non-stick surface. So let me hear some of your techniques. What do you got? Well, because I know you got some up your sleeve.
I definitely like the oils, just like you do.
Yeah.
This is after you've already cleaned your grate, and you should clean it at least once a week because we're doing a lot of grilling, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Once a week is the recommendation. I know people really don't ever do that. They just turn it on hoping that the heat will kind of dissipate all that old stuff that's stuck to the grate. But it is best and recommended that it's once a week. Yeah.
So then it's going to be easier to clean if you oil it up. You lather it up. And so
now, I've used olive oil in the past.
Olive oil, grapeseed oil is cool.
Right.
My secret is popcorn oil.
Really?
I use butter-flavored Orville Redenbacher.
Orville
Redenbacher. And it actually becomes kind of a tasty glaze, and there's something about the thickness of that popcorn oil. I don't know. It seems to work as a great resistance to the stuff sticking.
I would assume that it's got a high viscosity, right? So that it's going to be able to work better at a higher temperature and not burn.
Probably.
Right? That's what I would assume, yeah. So that's a great tip, isn't it?
And they also want to oil the meats, which we're going to talk more about too, because if you oil your chicken and your steak and so forth, then not only is the grate oiled, right, as a preventative, but then the meat is lathered up and isn't going to stick as much, and so you're just continuing to prevent more labor down the road.
I am starving. Starving from all this grill talk. This is so exciting. Can't believe it.
So you are going to be doing some grilling tomorrow, right, Eric?
I'm doing grilling. I got the kids, like I said, and we are so excited because, the Stromers usually have about 23 steaks and 15 hot dogs and some turkey dogs, and then there's some vegetarians in the family, and then you have the soy. You ever grill the soy products?
Mm-mm.
Like the soy dogs or any of those things?
No. Is that tricky?
It is a little. It's basically like you're grilling celery with some casing around it. I'm not a huge fan, but
how do you get the nice seared look on that?
It does kind of sear and char, but it just doesn't answer the question, where's the meat in the Stromer family? It's not so good for me.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk about how lemon is also another great thing that you can put on the grates.
Right, great.
Great.
I'm going to keep saying it. No pun intended.
And we were talking last week about if you don't clean your grates, one more incentive is the wild animals that come out from the hillside. We had actually a bobcat sighting in Glendale. And, bears can come and they'll be intrigued to check out your grill if you haven't cleaned it off. You know what I mean? So
is this the reason my dog hovers around the grill
Could be.
pretty much all the time? Because it smells the meat left over, doesn't it?
Well, hold that thought. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about some more of the special potions and lotions and things that we can do to keep the grill clean. You're listening to Home Wizard Cindy Dole with Eric Stromer.
Come to think of it, my cat hangs out around the grill. All the animals are around my grill.
It's Labor time. We're having fun. You can do this with that grill. Don't you go away here on KFWB News Talk 980. Well, Eric, we were talking about cleaning with vodka around the house.
It works great
worked
with
on
glass.
Your windows.
Yeah, thank you for that tip, by the way.
I was looking for ways to maybe clean the grill with vodka, and I don't think that would be a good idea.
You can cook while consuming vodka.
Always.
Cleaning as well, I think. Always.
Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, you're listening to Home Wizards, Improve Your Home, Improve Your Life, and we've been talking about, getting the grill ready so we can have the grill of our dreams.
That looks pretty darn good after it's been soaking a minute, doesn't it?
It does. It does. This is our grate from our home, and we just kind of wrapped it in foil. And the technique is that you wrap it in foil, and then, before you wrap it in foil, that you might want to put some ammonia on it.
Yep.
With a paper towel, and then wrap it in foil, and then just after it's completely encased in this foil, you put in a trash bag overnight, and then it comes out
I like
clean
it. I'm
going to
try this technique.
But just make sure you don't cook until the ammonia is hosed off, and then you put it, warm up the grill so it's burned off, because you don't want ammonia tasting steaks.
No, you don't. Yeah. And then once you get them clean, the grill grates, now it's time to oil them back up again. So you were talking about this popcorn oil, and I love that idea. That's great.
I use that sometimes. You use olive oil?
I've always used olive oil. Yeah, and then from there we get into how do you get the meat on the grill where it gets nice and marinated and juicy, and you can kind of sear it first, because that's always my problem with these different types of gas grills versus charcoal.
So you have gas, right?
I have gas.
Well,
well, I've taken some Beano, so I'm okay now. But I do. I have the gas grill, and it is convenient. But boy, I'll tell you, I've had some of the best steaks of my life on traditional charcoal.
Yeah,
I really do love that.
And there's some different techniques to cleaning charcoal versus cleaning gas grills.
Right.
I think that some people feel that they can just forget the charcoal, let it go.
Right. And the gas grill, it's pretty easy and simple to clean. You just take those grates out, like we said. Once you've done that, then you can use a shop vac and get all those additional crumbs that are at the bottom, almost like a toaster. You're always going to have that
the
crispy
bottom.
stuff on the bottom. And there's usually a tray that you can pull out that sometimes people put foil in to collect the grease, sometimes not. And then when you pull that out, you clean it. Again, soak that as well. And then the wire brush works wonders inside the grill with a little bit of cleaning solution. And, in your case, I know you're talking about ammonia. I'm sure you can use that as well in a solution of water.
Or just using, I like the idea of just rolling up the piece of foil into a ball.
It is great. Yeah.
And then that now becomes your steel brush.
And it really
it really does. It really does. And then you do this while the grate is slightly warm, on the grill. Lemon juice. We talked about some of the solutions. We like to rotisserie a lot. Do you have a rotisserie chicken?
I
at
don't.
Home?
I don't have the rotisserie function.
We have this long rotisserie pole that you put over the grill, and it becomes so gunky and just it's kind of just not convenient. You have to really awkwardly try to clean it, because it's a long, slender, heavy thing. And so, again, trying to heat it, use like anything else, using heat to your advantage to kind of melt down the stuff is always a good idea,
But I'll tell you that.
But the lemon juice works. If you put a little lemon juice on the rotisserie pole, but also on your infrared burners, that kind of, because of the alkaline in there, it kind of melts down and thins down. I should say.
It breaks it down.
Breaks it down.
The chemical component, if you will.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fantastic news. Yeah. So again, once we've gotten to the point where we've got the grates out, you've used either lemon juice or any other kind of cleaner, and you've really kind of vacuumed that grill out. You want to take a look at some of those burner areas and scrub those or agitate them with either the foil like you have or a wire brush, and then just get it to a point where it seems like it's nice and cleaned out and it's free of any kind of additional grease or other grime that could kind of plug those gas jets.
Now, I've used Pam before, spray Pam, as opposed to olive oil or the popcorn oil, too.
Yep.
And, especially if you're watching calories and fat, that's the same thing. You just want to coat the
Something
grates.
to coat the grates,
before
right.
it's a preventive thing before you cook.
I like that tip that we were talking about yesterday, where you take a paper towel and you fold it up in 4 sections, right? Kind of match the size of your brush that you clean the grill with. And then you saturate it with oil, whatever oil you're going to use, either your peanut or your olive or whatever we're using. And then you kind of go back and forth when the grill's hot. I like that one. And that really kind of saturates those tines. Not too much drips into the area where the flame is, because that can start to spark fire and get some hot flashes here and there. But that seemed like a great technique to oil the grates. Yeah.
The lemon idea we talked about for the rotisserie and also for the infrared burner. But how about if you are using pots on your grill? Do you ever do a little wok thing?
Sometimes I will do a little marinade on the side, and I'll melt butter, or I'll create a nice little glaze for the chicken or the beef that I'm making. Yeah.
Are you? Well, sometimes you might get worried about staining the bottom of your pot or pan because it's on the grate.
Right.
Do you ever worry about that?
I don't. I just am glad I have pots and pans.
Okay.
I'm going to go with that.
Well, here's a tip. If you use bar soap, you basically rub bar soap on the bottom of the wok or the pot or pan or whatever you're going to put then on your grill.
Right.
It becomes, again, kind of like this nice little extra layer of skin.
So another protective layer.
To repel any damage, and then it'll just kind of rub off or rinse off when it comes time to cleaning it.
Now, are you the kind of person that has a grilling apron?
I have all these aprons, but I hardly ever wear them. I mean, we have the In-N-Out burger apron. We have different, I mean, I think it's a Christmas gift that you get.
Right,
do you have apron?
Yeah, I don't have an apron, but I think about that for Father's Day for me coming up for you, because I could use one. I like it. And then the ones with the pockets that can hold all the things that you're going to drink while you're grilling.
Cleaning the outside of the grill. Now, if you have a stainless steel grill, a lot of people worry, do you get those stainless steel cleaner products? Is that really worth it? Not so much. Don't know. I think that if you just use a waterless hand cleaner, have you heard about these? You get it at the hardware store.
No, I haven't.
It's like this big tub of goo.
Oh, the hand cleaner stuff that you get out of the... Yeah.
It's almost like goop.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you use that with a paper towel, oh my gosh, you check these videos online, it does wonders to clean the outside of your grill, whether it's a Weber grill or a stainless steel grill, and you use a paper towel, no water,
right,
and just use that to kind of buff it, if you will. And after all that cleanser has gone, then go back and just kind of dry it off, and it looks like brand new. Yeah.
That's interesting. Now, I've used like a Scotch-Brite pad, and as long as you go in the direction or the grain of the stainless, it really doesn't matter. But it agitates it enough, and also kind of keeps the fingerprints at bay a little bit. And again, I've used soapy solution, and then I'll spray it down with water. So I'm doing more of a rudimentary, old school way of doing it. But I do like these newfangled things you're coming up with. They're kind of giving me some new ideas. Fantastic.
So the sautéing thing, I like to do a lot of sautéing on the grill, and that's why I'm going to try this bar soap method. I think that's kind of cool.
So wait, do you sauté your vegetables in a pan on the side, or do you skewer them and then marinate them and put them?
Do both.
Yeah. Which way do you think turns out better?
I don't know. I think I like it. Probably on the skewer probably is better overall.
And a great tip, when I've done the skewered vegetables or meat, I'll take those little wood spears that you get, and I soak them in water, and that keeps them from burning.
Those little bamboo sticks?
Exactly. Because if you put them in dry, they start to torch on you, and sometimes they set on fire, and then you lose them. So soak them in water first before you skewer your vegetables or your meat.
So you were talking about how you like charcoal grills and have the flavor, but I mean, in terms of cleaning it, I think that a lot of times people don't take advantage of dumping out the ashes. So you really are supposed to dump out the ashes every time.
You sure are, yeah. Yeah, because if you don't, then you're not starting with a nice, fresh grill, so that you get the natural firing of the charcoal briquettes or the woods that you're using.
And it cuts down on all the extra smoke, and you know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's what that grease does. It smokes everything up, and then you get fires within, and then what happens is the meat starts to burn because there's too much flame. Yeah, so I always recommend that you really clean that stuff out. But I got to tell you, I do love the traditional old school charcoal grill. It's really it's convenient, it's inexpensive, and it does make a great product at the end of the day once you finish grilling.
Now, what do you think about grill covers? Is that going to help us? You like grill covers?
You know, I do like grill covers because once you've spent all that time cleaning the exterior of the grill, it really it keeps it nice and pristine. And I have a big problem with sap and things dropping from trees and staining that stainless steel. So I really do think it helps. And you can just hose those off. And there's a common misconception with those covers that if you put them on, they're going to rust out the parts of the grill, but that actually is not true.
Now, you were saying that the kids have been inside the house quite a bit this past week because
it was about 300 degrees out
and then
in
you're
the valley.
fighting algae bloom in the pool. But the air conditioning's been working okay?
The AC's working just great now, finally, because I did a couple of things, namely cleaning out the filter. There was all sorts of debris in that filter. I think there was cat hair.
Oh my gosh!
I think there was.
Well, isn't it like a 1980s?
I saw something to the effect of Farrah Fawcett.
You saw the Farrah Fawcett poster.
Perm hair, and the poster got sucked off the wall, and boy, we got in big trouble.
Well, when we come back, we're going to talk with an air conditioning pro, because it has been so bloody hot and humid, on how to not only make sure that you're getting the most efficiency from your air conditioner, but how do you hire an AC guy to make sure you're getting the good deal, right?
I know. I can't wait to talk to this gentleman.
Mr. Fix-It Man, Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole. This is Home Wizards. Improve your home, improve your life. We're back right after this.
Now everything is easy 'cause of you.
Well, hi there. This is Home Wizards, where we help improve your home and improve your life. Cindy Dole and Eric Stromer, and it's Labor Day weekend.
It sure is, and you know, I'm so excited about this sangria thing that you're talking about. Please tell me the recipe. This looks delicious.
Well, before we get to the recipe, let's set the stage.
Okay. Story time.
So we were saying that Labor Day, what the heck? I mean, how do you get a theme for Labor Day? You don't want to get too hokey, right? I mean, if you're going to have people over.
Yeah, you have 4th of July, red, white, and blue. What is the Labor Day theme? I guess it can be whatever you want it to be.
Could be anything, because it's the last official weekend of summer. And for me, I think the way to find a theme is to pick your favorite travel place or a recent travel place.
Yeah.
So for you, that would be
I was in beautiful northern Michigan, so it would be the Stromers and Paul Bunyan hats and cutting their meat with little axes, and dress up the dog like Blue the ox. That's how we do it.
I guess
Northridge.
that could work.
Yeah. Be a little hot, but might be fun.
Yeah. We could also maybe go for the nautical look along one of the lovely lakes in Michigan.
Right.
That's a good idea. You did a little skiing, right? You could have that.
A little water skiing, a little
That'd
fishing.
Be pretty.
Maybe grilled fish theme.
Yummy.
There's something.
Great. Well, we had this party growing up. We traveled to Spain. My folks took me to Spain, and when you're in Spain, I mean, that's all you have is sangria. I mean, it's kind of like, are you kidding me? You're having sangria like at lunch and snacks. And
and also loosens you up to do the flamenco stuff.
It loosens you up, and then no wonder you want to have a little siesta because, everyone's had the sangria. But
that explains the culture of Spain.
Well, between that and the yummy paella, do you love paella?
I love paella. Absolutely.
Because it's the chicken and the sausage and the seafood and that saffron that costs like $1 million,
And you're almost speaking of this in a slight accent. When it was so passionate, I couldn't believe paella, sangria.
Well, we're talking about food, So yeah. Well, that leads me to the memory of that, and I think that having a party for Labor Day or the last summer bash, or really any time, is to kind of create a theme that isn't too hokey, but is a great memory of something, and then all of a sudden everything falls in place. So picture yourself in Southern California at my folks' party where they reenacted our trip to Spain. And the trick was to have some of the decorative things that you would see in Spain, and then the tablecloths and the votives and all that stuff. But then the food, of course, the paella and the sangria.
This is a really nice idea.
It was fun. It was a fun evening.
So your dad, Lucky Chucky.
Lucky Chucky did this.
He did this.
A little partay. And so I have the recipe for, and in fact, I'm even holding the original index card from my family list of recipes. But, back in the day, a gallon of Burgundy wine.
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of the equivalent of today's boxed wine.
I think that it's more like maybe some Pinot or some,
Right.
some nice
But I would
wine.
imagine you don't want to use too fancy of a wine because it will have a lot of fruit in it.
True. You can use and you know what? Box wine, by the way, is more chic these days.
It really is.
Wine is
and
where it's at.
also the lid that unscrews because it keeps the wine better. Yeah.
Well, you can't get corks. But the wine industry, there's a cork shortage.
Right.
because they're all in my yard because I'm using them as mulch. Someone told me they make a great mulch, and so now I have them covering all my container pots. But that's another story. Anyway, so on the recipe, on the website, we have a new website, which is yourhomewizards.com. And you'll see Eric and me there, and you have the recipe, and it's a gallon of Burgundy wine. Now, keep in mind, this is for up to 20 people.
Right.
So it's 5 bottles of wine in a gallon, or really you're going to need 1 bottle if 4 people are coming over. So you can shrink down this recipe. But it has the sugar and the juices and the fruits. But one of the things that really kicks it up is a little bit of apricot brandy and some Grand Marnier.
That sounds great.
And you put that in this pitcher. With a little bit of the lime slices here, yeah, and then you have and then you top it off with club soda and the fruit floating, and you're good to go.
Fragrance,
very fruity.
And now it makes sense as to why I'm wearing these gaucho pants.
Okay, you are going to do the flamenco.
That's right.
And then also on the website we have something for the non-alcoholic guests for kids.
The kids, yeah, that's
and
great.
It's this thing called Lush Slush, and I remember again growing up with this, and it was fun for that summertime party because you could make it ahead. In fact, you can keep it in your freezer all summer long. And it's a combination of orange juice and crushed canned pineapple with the juice, and then ginger ale and bananas, and then you put it in the freezer, and then when you take it out, you thaw it just a little bit so it's kind of slushy like you would get at 7-Eleven,
right.
And then you top it with some fresh berries, and kids you can spoon that up.
Oh, that sounds
it's yummy,
so good.
and put it back in the freezer.
My kids will love it.
You're going to do it.
You know what? And also the idea of the theme party, I think it makes it a lot more fun when guests come because everybody can contribute and there's a direction to the party. It's not just a lot of random dishes that show up. It's stuff that's kind of
you mean in terms of potluck?
Yeah, in terms of a potluck scenario. Everybody has an idea of what to do.
An assignment.
An assignment, if you will. And I think that makes it more fun and easier.
So for your party tomorrow, are people bringing things for this?
They are, and now I'm concerned because I'm going to get the usual fare of, Costco potato salad.
They're bringing paella now.
You better believe
you're going to have 10 different versions of paella.
I'm sending out a hot memo right now. Get the sangria rolling.
Yeah.
Great tips. Thank you. That sounds so good.
But I think that once you have the theme, that's a good start because then everything kind of falls into place from the decor and the mood. And
so from that theme, where would you go with the decor, for example?
Well, you'd want to have very decorative, very bright tablecloths,
Right.
And you definitely want to have the candles and the luminaries. I love that.
The bags with the little patterns you can cut out in them and then light
and
the
now
candles.
I think with the battery-operated candles, it makes it safer.
Yes.
You can put it in there and not worry about the flame catching on fire.
I can't believe you're saying that because I've always had a little bit of a paranoia about doing those because I feel like I'm going to set my yard on fire with the
there's always
candles.
a wind and it's always like the Santa Anas have come in that particular day.
Right.
And
then it turns into, do you remember the time, Eric, you'd had the sangria party and set the neighborhood on fire?
Well, there are so many different ways to have a fun theme. I mean, I think that the Cabo theme, any kind of tropical theme, just fill in the blank. It's summer. How are you going to feel relaxed and have fun?
Right.
So let's walk you through some of the other elements that you can have.
Right.
You can basically use things you have around the house or very inexpensively set the stage for a very fun
because let me interject.
Yeah.
I was just at the store this morning getting stuff for this party.
Uh-huh.
And
what'd you get?
A couple $100 later, nothing in particular with any theme attached to it. It was random stuff.
Yeah.
And this idea that you're talking about repurposing stuff that you already have and turning that into some of your party favorites, it makes a huge difference. So take me through. What do you think?
One of the things that I love is to use what you have, your garden pots. You can use these garden pots in vessels, garden vessels, for so many different things. Number one, you can use them as an instant ice bucket for the bar.
You know what? I bought the 2 25-pound bags of ice, and guess what they're sitting in?
Uh-huh. The plastic tub?
The plastic melting on the back. Where were you this morning?
Yeah, right. Well, that's kind of a cool thing. But you could also use the terracotta trays that go beneath the pot, that collect the water and the moisture in your little pots. You can use that to serve appetizers on. Like basically cut up cheeses and then put maybe some leaves around it to make a pretty little presentation and have that as your cute little summertime outdoor vibe for for snacks.
Yeah, and
appetizers.
you know where those are most of the time in my home. They're in the side of the garage
in the back,
with dirt
spider
in them.
webs.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you'd have to rinse them off for sure.
No, but even still, you rinse them off, you let them dry out in the sun, and then you could probably paint them nice festive colors as well if you were a little ambitious.
And you can line them also with tea towels. If you wanted to use a larger terracotta flower pot, you could just almost line it with the tea towel and then put breads in there or breadsticks and have that as a nice. Again, it's an outdoorsy theme. You don't have to go really extravagant.
Right.
You don't have to go buy all those new
new
things.
plastic things
Yes,
that you end up
don't.
throwing away anyway.
Right.
This is a great idea. And then you just hose them in the yard when
Hose
you're
them
finished.
down. And I also love the idea, back to the pot thing, of using that, especially if you have some pretty glazed pots. Everyone's worried about bugs flying over the food. You can use a large one of those to cover over your serving tray of food, right? Now it looks pretty, and then you lift it
Oh,
up.
that's a great idea.
Kind of fun.
In this heat, the flies have really started to step up a bit. So I love it when you can cover the food with something like.
Oh no, they're going down. They're not going to win.
No, they're not.
Well, there's also some great things you can do in terms of bringing shade and entertainment. We can't forget the outdoor movie theater experience, which you've done with your family.
Yes, I love that. It's so simple. You can just string a sheet across the garage or suspend it through
Hold
a couple
that
of
thought.
trees. Okay.
Yeah. We're going to get
I'm
to
going
the
to
Eric
talk about
Stromer.
the movie I watched, too, while we're on the break.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cindy Dole with Eric Stromer. You're listening to Home Wizards, where we love to help you improve your home and your life. We're going to give you some more great ideas for this last weekend of summer fun style on KFWB News Talk 980.
No doubt, son, you gotta work late.
Sometimes I wonder what I'm gonna do when they Summer loving had me a blast.
Summer loving happened so fast.
I met a girl crazy for me.
That is the movie that I was watching. It was
Really?
Grease.
On outside for your outdoor theater?
Yeah. And it's
How
great because,
cute.
think about it. You
With the
take-
whole family?
Yeah, you take a family of 5 and their friends to a movie, and it's going to be a couple $100 easy. You can rent these outdoor projectors and get a sheet and string it across the garage or the back of the house or even suspend it. And for like $125, I got the package with the sound system and the great movies that we rented, and then you have this great outdoor theater experience. Are there drive-ins anymore?
Oh,
anywhere?
there are.
Where are
hey,
they?
this is Eric Stromer, and I'm Cindy Dole, by the way. We forgot to say. You're
sorry.
listening to Home Wizards, where we love to help you improve your home and improve your life, and part of it is outdoor living. And
Right.
I love the old drive-in theaters, but you can do it at home,
You
too.
can do it at home, and boy, it's a lot of fun.
campy.
The kids just loved it. They
Now,
had
do you
great
use a
time.
projector then? Is that your
Yes,
deal?
you can use a projector. Or you bring, if you already have one in your home, obviously you can use that and bring it outside. But again, these kits that you can rent are so inexpensive. It actually is worth it.
It's just a few $100, I think.
$125. I got everything.
You got
the
everything,
whole package, the whole
125
thing.
Really?
Got it. Yep. With a great sound too.
That's awesome.
That was the envy of the neighborhood. I got to tell you.
And then you can buy one, though, for maybe $500.
$500 gets you
to buy
a
one.
great sound system with actual surround sound and then the projector and the whole bit. You're good to go. And a screen as well. Inflatable screen.
Very cute.
Yeah, it's so fun.
Are you going to do that tomorrow for the big party?
No, I'm not, because I think we have a trampoline and a pool now that I've cleaned it and the algae's gone and I've taken control of my home again. So now I think it's going to be a swim trampoline party. That's where we're at.
Oh, that'll be great.
And now that I've heard the sangria recipe,
Yeah.
it's going to be me in a sombrero and a pair of gauchos. And
If you
bam.
missed the recipe, you can just go to yourhomewizards.com. It's right there on the homepage in the slideshow where you'll see the fixins. This was the recipe that was based on a trip to Spain, and then our family threw a party to kind of reenact what it's like to travel in Spain. And so we had the paella and we had the sangria, and anyway, you can do that if you like.
yeah, and yourhomewizards.com, all these great recipes are there. And I have actually tried your paella.
You
and
did?
It is delightful.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for that. Delicious.
Well, when you think of sangria and you think of any kind of beverage, right, you might want to have an outdoor bar for this last summer bash.
Right.
And there's so many things you can do without having a full-blown bar. I love these galvanized tin vessels. You can get them in a rectangular shape, you can get them in a bucket shape, and you can use them for so many different things. But first, for the bar, you can fill that kind of as a tub shape. Picture the galvanized tin,
Right.
with handles on the side, and it's prettier than the plastic ones that you might
Sure
find
is.
at Costco or whatever. But you can get this galvanized tin, I'm sure, anywhere at some of these import stores or probably even at
the hardware store,
Big
a couple
Lots.
of bucks.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
it.
And you fill it with ice, and then your bottled waters and your juices or beer or whatever, and that looks really cute. And it stays stays nice and cool. But then the real looker of this thing, I found this discovery. It's freezing a bottle of vodka. And it becomes so pretty that now you can set it on your table where you're serving drinks.
Right.
But picture slices of lemon and raspberries that are now adhered to this very beautiful, almost iceberg-esque bottle of vodka. And what you do is you take the bottle, you put it in the freezer inside a milk carton.
Huh.
And that becomes its little bath for the time being. And then you fill it up a third with water, and you throw in whatever you like. Limes,
limes, yeah.
And strawberries.
Any kind of fruit, yeah.
And then you let it, put it in the freezer for like an hour or two, and then it hardens, and then take it out, turn it upside down in that container, and give it more water, more fruit, same thing, and boom, and that lasts all night long, and it looks really cool.
This is a great idea. It's an art piece.
It is an art piece.
That's fantastic.
Kind of fun.
You know what else, too? So let's talk about the idea of taking a picnic table that you may have. And
yes.
How do you transform a picnic table that's going to be a little bit dingy from the dirt from the yard and the gardener blowing stuff on it or whatever? Clean it up, make it look like a nice entertainment center.
Well, we were talking again about using a sink of some kind. You could use a terracotta pot of some kind that's a rectangular shape and put that in the center in terms of making it, again, the place where all the drinks, the ice and the drinks go. But beyond that, I mean, you want to have a tablecloth.
Yeah.
And there's a great way to secure the tablecloth that we discovered where you use grommets.
That's right. Yeah, and you hook them onto the edge of the table and hold it because, a lot of times those things will start blowing on you. And it's a nice tight cover over the top of the table itself. And then it takes that dingy picnic tabletop and turns it into a nice serving area. The other thing that I love, too, that we were talking about, the picnic table that you cut the rectangular hole in and drop that thing right down
sink
to
in
the
the
center
middle.
of it, almost like a sink in the middle. You can even have one that has a drainage hole from a flower box, for example. So when ice is in there, it melts down onto the grass beneath, and it's actually a great way to demonstrate and display all the great stuff that you're trying to serve your friends and neighbors, and it looks beautiful. It's inexpensive.
Now, look at that. This is something that I'm going to try this weekend. And we're looking at a large candle.
Yeah.
And it's basically in a really large, it's actually a glass container, a hurricane vase, inside another vase. And what you do is you use food coloring and water. And so if you can picture a smaller glass vase inside a larger, almost like it could be like a large cake, display or
so the
hurricane.
Food coloring
and the food coloring is in the
influences
perimeter one.
Oh.
And then you put a candle in the center one. The candle is never in the water,
Right.
and it looks really cool. It's kind of a beautiful aqua blue this time, but you could do any kind of color. And you want to secure the smaller glass vase to the larger one with some kind of floral. Kind of a sticky adhesive that you get
Right.
at some of the
That's beautiful.
artsy craftsy stores.
The food and the alcohol just taste better when they're displayed correctly, don't they? It just presentation's everything, in my opinion.
And also for the table, I like the idea of just using river rocks to hold down napkins and things, because isn't it the way that the minute that you have everything served, there's a big wind burst that's come out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so you can get the rocks can be so simple and pretty and grounding, and you can get them again at your garden supply store or hardware store and just have them, and you can use them for anything. I use those as mulch on top of my containers along with the
Of course,
wine,
I
the wine
try,
corks.
as you know, to keep throwable objects to a minimum because
oh.
one of the kids starts pelting the other one with a stone in the head, and then the whole night goes south.
I guess that is a throwable object.
Yeah, that's right.
Lighting. Do you have tiki torches? Have you ever done the tiki torch
I don't, but you know
thing?
what I am using? I have a couple of photographic lights with the white umbrellas on them to throw even light on someone. So I use those at night. So it almost looks like a photo shoot, but it
pretty.
illuminates the table, and it casts a beautiful light on everything.
Little set dressing.
And if I want to take some photos, let's just say
you're ready to go.
I'm ready to go. I'm pre-lit, if you will.
Well, if we were going to do the tiki light thing, I like the idea, and it's a safe idea, of just kind of decking out your yard with these large galvanized tins again,
Yep.
and you fill them with a gravel, and that's going to be now the support system for the tiki poles.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So they won't
go
they
back.
won't fall
They're not
over.
wonky, in other words.
It's kind of festive, and then you can light the place without using electricity, and it's cute, and
That's right.
I like it.
I also love the rope lights.
The rope lights, yes.
You know what I mean?
My dad would
I
call
like
them
them better because the little Christmas lights that are white sometimes have a tendency of catching on trees when you're trying
Right.
to take them off again. and they don't seem to last as long as the rope lights.
The
do.
rope lights, my dad would call them Broadway lights.
Yes.
It kind of looks like Broadway.
It kind of does.
But
yeah.
you could rope that around a tree.
That's right.
You know, I love that idea. I also like the idea of hanging a chandelier from a tree using battery-operated votives, right? Or even, it's an electric-powered chandelier, but you just have one of those outdoor extension cords,
Right.
and you hang it from a tree.
This outdoor kitchen, outdoor living, outdoor room stuff that we see so much here in California. We're all so lucky to be here in the first place, to be able to do this and create space outside. But nothing honors it more than some great design tips and techniques, and especially these lighting.
The
things
lighting?
that it really makes all the
How about
difference.
shade?
Oh,
We don't want
you
too
know
much
what?
light.
That is a huge thing because, boy, the sun sets late in my yard, because of the way the lot's configured, and without shade, I'm dead.
You
Can't be out
like
there.
the sun sails, though, don't you?
I love the sun. I love the angular shape that the sun sails come in.
And those
here.
aren't very expensive.
Like $79 I saw one for that was like 13 by 10. 25 by 13, I think.
Is that kind of umbrella fabric?
Yeah, love that stuff. Makes all the difference. You can't be out in the yard in Northridge when it's 105 with no shade.
Well, you're going to be partying it up, and I know that you have some good ideas having traveled to New York where you had what? You had back bacon in New York?
I did. I went to a delicious restaurant and some great appetizers at this chef's restaurant that I'd like to tell you about. Boy, it was delicious.
Who was it?
Still full. A guy named Sam Talbot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a hell of a good chef.
We're going to talk about some great things you can do to have that tasty experience when you're enjoying all this beauty that we have here for Labor Day weekend.
Great.
Eric Stromer, Cindy Dole, you're listening to Home Wizards. It's summertime, and we're helping you get things fired up. We're back after this here on KFWB News Talk 980.
Oh, how fine